Yo, what's going on, guys? It's JMass, and I'm back again with another dope New England adventure. You know, I'm really excited today because it is a gorgeous day out today, and I'm in one of my favorite places in New England, the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Now, the White Mountains are well known for their natural scenery and their beauty. There's a lot of cool stuff here. And as you can see right now, I'm actually going for a hike in the lush green forests of the town Conway, New Hampshire. Conway is a pretty well-known tourist attraction here in the White Mountains. But today we're going to be checking out a place I've personally never been before, and I'm really excited to check out. The trail that I'm currently hiking along is called the Redstone Quarry Trail. And like the name might suggest, we're going to be checking out the abandoned remnants of the Redstone Granite Quarry that once operated here between 1884 and 1948. Now, the Maine and New Hampshire Granite Company first founded the Redstone Granite Quarry in 1884 at the base of Rattlesnake Mountain, which operated in this area. At its height, it employed around 300 men who worked to mine out and quarry the granite, which was used all throughout the United States at various structures and buildings. And when it closed in 1948, it became a public park that people can hike through and walk around and stuff. And from what I see, there are many abandoned remnants of things we can see today, from shacks to buildings, machinery, equipment. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be checking out the Redstone Granite Quarry, all of the abandoned things it has to offer. And it's also just going to be a really nice hike through the woods. So yeah, join me today, guys, as we check out the abandoned Redstone Granite Quarry that operated between 1884 and 1948. As always, if you guys love urban exploration, checking out abandoned sites, you know, traveling New England, that's my specialty. So feel free to subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing more, or follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But we're going to be getting right into it, checking out some abandoned remnants of the Redstone Granite Quarry here in the town of Conway, New Hampshire, and the gorgeous White Mountains. Let's check it out. One thing that's pretty cool about this abandoned site we'll be checking out today is that each abandoned remnant has a historical marker or an interpretive plaque giving more detailed information about it, as you can see right here. And the very first thing we're going to be checking out is an abandoned granite column laying dormant at the bottom of the woods. We'll check that out in a second. I will just show you the historical marker right here, and feel free to pause if you want to read more about it. But basically, this granite column was meant to be used at Grand Central Station in New York City, but for whatever reason, it was rejected and never brought over. But that's pretty cool because Grand Central Station in New York City is one of the most famous and iconic train stations, not just in New York City, but in the United States. And for whatever reason, this was rejected. But look at this, super dope. You can see the granite is glistening in the summer sun. It's actually kind of cool. It must be, yeah, super smooth to the touch. That's pretty dope. Yeah, check this out, an abandoned granite column. Now, as I mentioned, the Redstone Granite Quarry, obviously, based on the name, specialized in mining granite. And a lot of their granite was used throughout the United States in many different cities. New York City, Washington, D.C., Boston. Pretty cool to see. But this is just one of their products they would have made. Very cool. So now we got some really dope old machinery to check out. As you can see right here, there's a remnant of an old rusted metal piece of equipment or machinery. Can't really tell what this is. But luckily for us, there is another informative plaque right here that actually gives us specifically what we're looking at. And you'll see in front of us, there are two large machines out in the distance right over there. Now again, feel free to pause if you want to read this, but basically on the left, which is right over there, we're actually looking at a pair of large compressor steam engine flywheel combinations. They were built by the Chicago Pneumatic Tool Company. And then right here in front of us, we're actually looking at the remains of two coal-fired boilers. Pretty cool. So two massive abandoned pieces of equipment. And it looks like they were installed in the early 1900s. This one specifically between 1903 and 1905. But yeah, really cool. I think we're going to go up close and check them out. So first, we're going to check out the flywheel combinations right here. So you have to understand that these were, you know, installed in the early 1900s, but they were really only used up until the late 1940s. As I mentioned, the Redstone Granite Quarry closed down in 1948. So it is kind of eerie, you know, seeing this massive rusted equipment just sitting in the middle of the woods, completely untouched. You know, it's like looking into a bygone era, a time capsule, if you will. Ooh, and you can actually see the name of the manufacturer right on the side. The Chicago Pneumatic Tool Company. That's pretty cool. But yeah, these are the flywheel combinations. I don't really know what they were used for, to be honest. But still really cool. If you know what the functions of these machinery were, yeah, definitely let me know below. I'd be interested. But it's really interesting seeing, you know, abandoned machinery just laying dormant in the middle of the White Mountains of New Hampshire, just in the middle of the woods. Kind of cool. And then right here, of course, are the 2 coal-fired boilers, as you can see. See if we can get down here and get a better look. You got the 2 coal-fired boilers right here, which they have a ton of like metal poles and rods inside them. Not really sure what those were for, but again, just laying dormant in the middle of the woods, overtaken by nature, rusted away with time. Pretty cool. Now, there are a few other pieces of rusted equipment and machinery I'm just going to take a look at. It's actually right down this trail right here, although those ones didn't have an informative plaque with them, so we just have to make an educated guess what we think they are. But really cool to see. And that's actually going to be most of what we're going to be seeing today, is abandoned, rusted machinery and equipment left to rot in the middle of the woods. Yeah, check this out. You got another massive cylinder right here. It does kind of look like the coal-fired boilers, but I don't think that's what that was used for. Might have just been a tank of some sort. And of course, you got some more right over here. Yeah, really cool, but let's keep on going. Check this out, guys. There's an abandoned shed here in the middle of the woods. Now, unlike the last 2 stops, this one doesn't seem to have an informative plaque or marker anywhere. It's just kind of sitting here, but still really dope. Let's check it out. And figures I didn't bring my flashlight, of course. Really cool, though. Look at this. Oh, you know what this was? This was an abandoned bathroom. Look at that. You got the toilets right there. Probably late 1800s, early 1900s toilets. Presumably, this was for the employees of the Redstone Granite Quarry, you know. They had to use the bathroom. But that's really dope. An old abandoned quarry bathroom with a slanted roof. That's really dope. Completely made out of wood. I gotta say, obviously, while this thing is clearly deteriorating with time, I've seen newer abandoned bathrooms that are in worse condition. This isn't in horrible condition. Let's check out the back really briefly. This is really dope, actually. This is cool. Yeah, an abandoned bathroom house. Pretty awesome. Now, before I leave this site, I think I saw a note that I just want to read what that says. Yeah, right here. Look at this. Spider-Man loves you. I have water and food. Please leave a note of what do you need. From Spider-Man. Oh, shit. Well, thank you, Spider-Man. I appreciate the kind words. I don't know what Spider-Man was doing at the Redstone Quarry Trail in Conway, New Hampshire, but you know, it's appreciated. But yeah, the abandoned bathroom house, pretty dope. Okay, guys, we got another informative marker right here. Again, feel free to pause if you want to read it, but this site that we're standing at right now used to be a very large 500-foot-long stone shed. And you can actually see right now that at the stone shed, they used pneumatic air chisels developed in the 1930s to basically carve out and decorate the pieces of granite. And this is kind of cool too. They actually used large derricks to hoist up and move the granite slabs. I mean, granite obviously weighs a ton, so they had to use special machinery to move it. But yeah, pretty cool. This is the remnants of the stone shed right here. Really not too much left behind other than foundations and some random equipment. You can see right here, they got some really cool rusted gears. I wonder if these actually still move. Nope, they're locked in place. At one point, these gears were spinning around, you know, doing their job. Now they're just stuck in place. But this is pretty awesome. I don't know what this machine was. If I had to guess, it was probably used to chisel out the granite. And you can actually see remnants of the stone shed's wall right here. Check that out. I wonder if that shed itself was made out of granite. Probably was. Huh, but that's really cool though. The foundations of the stone shed, where granite slabs were carved and decorated. Then I also noticed this. It's just a little hole in the ground. Pretty cool, but that was cute. I liked that. So one kind of interesting thing about the Redstone Granite Quarry is that the granite that was mined here had a very distinct pinkish hue, and that made it pretty popular and famous among many of the cities along the US East Coast. And that's why so many of them wanted to use this granite in the construction of their buildings. And some of the most iconic and famous buildings, even today, utilize the granite mined here at the Redstone Granite Quarry. I did mention earlier how the Grand Central Station in New York City actually used some of that granite. But two other iconic buildings were the National Archives building in Washington, D.C., and the George Washington Memorial Masonic Temple in Alexandria, Virginia. Both of those buildings also used the iconic granite that was mined here at the Redstone Granite Quarry in Conway, New Hampshire. Pretty cool to, keep in mind that this was a very popular granite quarry that was used in the construction of many famous buildings. This is wicked dope, guys. Check this out. We officially found the quarry. Now, I don't know if this is just the only quarry that was at the Redstone Granite Quarry, or if it was just one of many, but nonetheless, we found an abandoned quarry right here. And again, there's an informative plaque right here. This quarry we're at is called the Green Quarry, and it was named so because green stone was cut here. And the kind of cool thing is it actually says what we can see. There are the remains of 3 wooden derricks, and you can actually see right there. There's one of them. There's the other. And I don't see the third, but yeah, you can at least see 2 of the wooden derricks right here. That's pretty dope. It also says there's an engine house here. And you can actually see the engine house right over there. We'll check that out in a bit. But this is awesome. This is Green Quarry right here. Check that out. You can see right now, the water is very dim, very dusky, but there's a lot of miscellaneous machinery. Like, look at that huge piece of equipment just submerged underwater. And of course, you got the derrick right above it. All these wires just spanning across the quarry. This is crazy. This is really dope. Ooh, look at that frog right there. He's just chilling. I was gonna say, I've been to many abandoned quarries in my life. Quarries are one of my favorite places to explore, but it's very rare to find quarries with the machinery still intact, like this. Check that out. So I guess I should make a pretty obvious remark that if you ever come here to the Green Quarry, don't swim here. It's too dangerous. Probably cut yourself on the machinery, hurt yourself, but still really cool though. And then there's also, just miscellaneous machinery laying around. You got this random tank right here, some random ass pipes scattered around. And then the other thing that's cool is that there's also a lot of pieces of granite rock just scattered around. Might be kind of hard to see, but when I was actually walking up that trail to get here, there was a ton of slabs of granite rock just scattered around me. But it is really cool. Green Quarry at the Redstone Granite Quarries. Oh, it's like a ladder right there. I almost wonder if we could get up on those cliffs over there, because it looks like we're on the lower end right now, but if you look ahead of us, there are some really soaring cliffs up there. I don't know. I'll see you in a little bit if we can get up there, but yeah, this is really cool. But let's go check out the engine house. Okay, guys, this is the abandoned engine house right on the shores of the Green Quarry. You can see this thing is completely dilapidated. You got this very rusted metal roof right here. Yeah, look at that. See if we can get in. Again, apologies for not having my flashlight readily available. I forgot it, unfortunately. But look at this. Again, lots of random machinery in here. You got all these gears, these big gears. This is dope. But obviously this is in horrible condition. It looks like the walls probably collapsed long ago because you just have this, A-frame roof right here and it's completely collapsed on itself. But there's a lot of random stuff, a lot of scrap metal, scrap wood. Pretty awesome. All right, let's get out of here. Yeah, that is the engine house right there. And you can actually see, this is kind of cool, check that out. You can actually see remnants of the granite slabs that they would have mined here. Like, check that out. You can actually see the ridges where they would put, huge bolts in the quarry to break it off. That's kind of cool. Oh, they got some more stuff right here. More equipment. I do kind of want to just apologize, give a blanket apology that Obviously, I'm not super knowledgeable on industry equipment. So whenever I see, you know, machinery like this, I'm not going to know right away what it was used for. But it is really cool to see laying dormant in the woods all this time later. What does that say? Gust Pers Werns. I don't know what that means. Probably someone's name. September 19th, 1893. Wow. So this dates to 1893. That's really cool. Pretty awesome. Yeah, that was the engine house. I think we'll take one last look at Green Quarry right here and then keep on moving. There's still a lot more to see. Looks like we can actually go over here. Yeah, you see all these slabs of granite everywhere? Imagine for a second it's the early 1900s when the Redstone Granite Quarry is still functioning and you have, you know, dozens of men at this quarry breaking away at huge slabs of rock, piling it up on the shores of the quarry, and this is what they come with. I mean, that must have been a crazy sight to see. Pretty cool. I do kind of like that water wheel that's just sitting right there. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, this was really dope. I really like this. By the way, one thing I just want to make pretty clear before I leave here, although the Green Quarry right now is completely filled in with water, that obviously wasn't the case when this thing was in operation. And you can actually see an image of it right here. Kind of glossed over this earlier, but you can see all of these workers standing in the pit of the quarry right here, completely dry, no water surrounded. This is what it looks like now, completely filled in with water. But at the time it was active, there was no water. People could just walk inside, and they actually used ladders to climb up the huge slabs of granite and carve it out. So just interesting food for thought that what you're seeing right now, filled in with water, was not the case during its height of activity. So as you can see, we got another historical marker right here, and we are currently standing at the Lathe House. And this is the Lathe House right here, another abandoned structure deep in the middle of the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So we're going to check that in a minute, but if you're curious what a lathe is, this is what a lathe is. It says a lathe holds the rough rectangular granite block and spins it very fast, while a variety of sharp tools shape, sand, and finally polish the stone. So basically a lathe is where the granite was polished and shapen. And you can see some more of the machinery right here, the cutting tools of the lathe. Pretty cool, yeah. So this right here must be the lathe. You can see huge piece of equipment. This is massive. And you got some more right over here. But this is a massive piece of now rusted and inactive machinery, most likely the lathe that we just read about. And this is the house right here, the Lathe House. Actually, that might be the lathe. I believe this is the lathe, actually, housed inside here. Yeah, look at that. So they would have a huge chunk of granite just right here, spinning around, and then you would have workers shape it and polish it. So that's really cool. And it was housed inside this little shack right here. That's pretty dope. Let's see if there's anything else to see in this little house. Not in horrible condition. I mean, obviously there's a giant side missing, but yeah, still pretty cool. The Lathe House here at the Redstone Granite Quarry in Conway, New Hampshire. I wonder if we can get up there. I don't know if that's possible. Let's see. Maybe there's a ladder, or nah, maybe not. I mean, there's not really much up there, just one tiny little floor. But it looks like there's actually more equipment up there too. Some sort of machine right there. Huh, this is pretty cool. The Lathe House. And the oh, what does that say? Corey and Kristen. Oh, that's from 2021, so someone vandalized this historic machine. It's kind of lame. Yeah, pretty cool though. What does that say? Betts Machine Company. Oh, Wilmington, Delaware. It's kind of funny. I was in Wilmington, Delaware a couple months ago. You guys can actually see a video on my channel when I was there. Really cool though, the Lathe House. I also just wanted to briefly show you guys the back end of the Lathe House right here, because it also looks kind of cool. I just think this is a unique design. I mean, check this out. You got the slanted roof right here, but then you got a little upper floor right there. And then you have some graffiti on the back end. Looks like a light bulb and a brain. I don't know, really cool, but this is the back end of the Lathe House. And the other thing you'll notice too right here is that obviously this is the trail that I've been using, you know, to walk around, but you can see right here there are remnants of a railroad, because at one point the Redstone Granite Quarry had numerous railroad systems snaking through the property. And that's just because granite weighs a ton, and to move granite around from point A to point B, you had to have an efficient system. So they used trains. So they had railroads all throughout the property. Trains would come and pick up the finished granite and bring it to whatever destination they needed, whether it was New York City or Boston or Washington, D.C. The granite would be transported using trains. But pretty cool. Yeah, the Lathe House, dope. So this is kind of funny. You can see that there's another historical marker right here, but this one's literally going off what I was just talking about in the other clip. The vast network of railroads and rail systems throughout the Redstone Granite Quarry. Now, obviously, the trains moved in and out the quarry to bring the huge slabs and blocks of granite, not only throughout the quarry itself, but to different destinations for final delivery. But this marker does also go on about derricks that were used throughout the property. If you don't know what a derrick is, it's basically these two huge things right here. It's described as a large apparatus for lifting and moving heavy objects. And that's one of the many ways they would use, you know, to lift huge granite blocks and slabs. And you can actually see, here's a photograph of one of the train systems, the rail networks that were used. But then up here, you actually have another little sign right here and yet another abandoned structure, which is kind of dope. Now, this one's obviously not as big as the Lathe House or even the engine house, but, you know, still another remnant. Now, when I looked at this, I believe this was for the office. Yeah, look at this. This is the office for the Redstone Granite Quarry. This was basically for the higher-ups at the business. You can see this is what it looked like at one point. But this is where business would be conducted. Obviously, now there's just nothing here. It's not even really a building. It's just a piece of concrete just sitting here. But at one point, this was the business office. Let's see what's over here. Really not too much left behind here, to be honest. Just a huge piece of concrete just in the middle of the woods. It's one of those things where, you know, if you rode by this on like a bike or walked by it, you probably wouldn't pay much attention to it, but, you know, has a pretty extensive history. What is this? Huh, huge. I thought this was a horseshoe for a second. It looks too big to be a horseshoe. I don't know. Yeah, really cool though. Now, I believe this right here is the very last abandoned remnant at the Redstone Granite Quarry. And it's kind of dope because we basically left best for last. Check this out, a massive abandoned structure. Now, I couldn't find any markers or anything around this, so it's possible there's a marker, it's just hidden, but I don't actually know what this building was used for. So right off the bat, not sure what this was used for. If I do find out later, I'll list it below in text, but huge abandoned building right here. And as you can see, compared to everything else we've seen, not in great condition. There's a lot more vandalism here, a lot of graffiti. And then there's just a lot of random debris in the front. But this is clearly not stuff that was used in the granite quarry in the early 1900s, because I seriously doubt they would have a Christmas tree shops, you know, cart right there. But anyways, pretty dope. I think we're gonna venture inside, see what's going on. Now, right off the bat, you'll be greeted with a ton of bottles of water that are completely full and not used, which concerns me a little bit because it almost makes me wonder if people live here. You know what I mean? I mean, we're deep in the middle of the White Mountains of New Hampshire. I would not be shocked if even just hikers use this as like a place to stay overnight, but hopefully not like squatters or anything. But again, I mean, I want to direct your attention to all the graffiti here. Like, compared to all the other stuff we've seen at this location, this is by far the most tagged. We've seen a little bit of graffiti here and there, but nothing to this extent. Now, obviously, this building is completely barren and empty, other than scattered pieces of debris, not too much going on. It does look like there's a top floor, though, so let's head up there and see what's going on. Go up these stairs. Hopefully, they're sturdy. Looks like they are sturdy. Check this out, the top floor. Again, though, not too much going on. Watch your step. Agreed, because if I didn't watch my step, I would be falling down there. Although, yeah, this floor does look pretty bad. You can see there's huge gaps in the floor where the wood fell down. I don't really know how I feel about going any further, to be honest. I don't really trust the, structural integrity of this place, but pretty cool. Though I do, shit, I don't know, man. This floor freaks me out. And you also got rusty nails just poking out. I was gonna say, like, it looks like you can actually look up that ladder right there. There's a ladder that goes up to the top floor of the attic, but if I'm being completely honest, there's probably not much up there too. It's probably empty. But still, though, really cool. This is the top floor. This is the view outside into the woods right here. The gorgeous forest. That's why they call it window pane. That's from an Eminem song. I forget the one. That's why they call it window pane. Okay, let's head back down to the bottom floor right here. I can't tell if there's a basement level. It doesn't look like there is, because that looks like it's too shallow to be a basement. But pretty dope. Yeah, this is probably just some sort of storage closet right here. Storage unit. Really interesting, though. I mean, this is the biggest of all the buildings we've seen. Obviously not too much here. It's in horrible condition. And I didn't see any historical markers, so I genuinely don't know what this was used for. But clearly other people have been using it because there's a lot of debris here. Even if you go around this end, like, check this out. So much random shit just scattered around. You got like a super moldy just chair. Like, that's disgusting. A random school desk, a sink. It's bizarre. That's the shopping cart that we saw earlier, the Christmas tree shops carriage. Interesting. Well, I'm just going to make my way around really briefly, and then I think that's really about it, though, for the abandoned remnants of the quarry. Yeah, does not look like there are any historical plaques here. So your guess is as good as mine as to what this thing was used for. I don't know, pretty interesting though. Huge abandoned building. Hey MTV, my name's J-Mass and welcome to my crib. Today I'm gonna show you guys around my house and give you a tour. So yeah, follow me, let's go inside. This is my gorgeous house. It was built in the early 20th century. And as you can see, it has all the amenities, everything you could ever want. You guys want a bottle of water? I got bottles of water. You know, whenever I come in my house and I'm thinking, what do I want to wear? You know, like, what clothes do I have? Well, I have so many options. As you can see, this is my closet right here. So many clothes to choose from. And if you guys love playing board games, you know, exercising, all that kind of stuff, there's so much room for activities. There's a lot of room in this gorgeous house of mine. And, you know, I just want to show you around. I'm a big fan of the arts, as you guys know. So all of the walls are decorated with my gorgeous artwork, hopefully on display someday. But thank you, MTV, for allowing me the opportunity to give you a tour of my crib. I hope you guys like it. What do you say? You think this is going to decline viewership because this house really looks disgusting? Yeah, okay, it's a bit of a fixer-upper, but it has charm. Hey, thank you guys for joining me. I've been J-Mass as always, and this has been another dope New England adventure. So today we checked out the Redstone Granite Quarry here in the town of Conway, New Hampshire, up here in the gorgeous White Mountains. We saw a once thriving granite quarry that was in operation between 1885 and 1948. Now, we saw a lot of abandoned remnants here, a lot of rusty equipment, machinery, and of course, a lot of granite. Now, this place, as I mentioned, was founded by the Maine and New Hampshire Granite Company in 1885, closed down in 1948, and ever since then, it's been a public park for anyone to access. This has been the Redstone Quarry Trail that I've been walking along, and they have all these interpretive signs and markers that detail the rich history of this place. Now, it's a really cool spot. I would highly recommend coming down here. If you're looking to get a workout, you know, go for a hike and see some history and some abandoned ruins, this is a great place. So, loved the Redstone Quarry. It was awesome. A lot of cool stuff here. And it was also really cool just seeing, you know, the machinery that they use to actually construct these slabs and blocks of granite. You know, you think about it with these quarries, like, this was back in the late 19th century, early 20th century. Like, you almost want to assume they had very primitive technology compared to today, which they definitely did, but they still had really unique equipment that was used to, you know, create these huge building blocks that shaped our society. It's really interesting. But anyways, guys, my name has been JMass. If you love abandoned exploration, you know, checking out cool historic sites all throughout New England and beyond, well, feel free to subscribe to the channel or follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. And I gotta say, because the one elephant in the room is, it's a very buggy place here. I put on a ton of bug spray. I'm still getting mosquitoes flying in my face and my eyes and ears. So if you come here, you know, be well prepared. It's very buggy. But anyways, guys, I've been JMass, the Redstone Granite Quarry, Conway, New Hampshire, the White Mountains, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.